Hello, ladies. My name is Gloria. Your English teacher. Today, we're going to review content number 2, listening strategies, that we studied this unit regarding learning, improving our listening skills. So, the first thing we have to pay attention to is the importance that listening comprehension has for language learning. Yes, listening is 45% of the time we spend communicating. So it's very important that when we are learning a new language, we are able to understand what we listen from other people. Yes, so we're going to check these 5 strategies. Some of them are in common with the reading strategies that we covered in the previous video. Yes, so let's see. These are 5 strategies that might be helpful for you in your listening comprehension journey. So we have 5, and we're going to go one by one to check what they are. So first of all, it's very important that we predict content. This is also the predicting strategy that we covered in the reading strategies. It's basically the same. Before you find the text, in this case audiovisual or only audio text, like a spoken conversation, sorry, you can look at the title of the recording. You can look at the photos if you have photos available. If you have the screenshot or the video paused, you can look at the images there, yes, at the scenery, and basically you predict, just as with the reading strategies, you predict what will the text be about, what will these characters talk about based on the place. Yes, if there are people at the beach, probably they're going to talk about their favorite activities in summer and stuff like that. Yes, the place where people are located is important. For example, in this photo, we have the title there, forecast. Yes, we have Australia, and we have the different weather conditions for that country. So that information will help me understand and activate information in my brain so that I can know what to expect, what do I think the text will have, so that I can predict what the text will have. Strategy number 2. Yes, listening for the whole picture. We have a picture there of Spider-Man. Yes, like you were on the top of a very tall building and you're looking at the whole city. That is the idea of listening for the whole picture. Yes, when we are listening, generally for the first time, a recording, you're going to listen to the main idea of the text and key words. Let's remember that English has a lot of small words that don't have much space. Yes, what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? The key word there is doing. Yes, all the rest of the words are pressed together into conversation. So it's very important that when you listen to the whole picture, you don't listen to every little word. That's okay. The important thing is that you look out for the keywords that give you information. I'm buying a house. I'm buying a house. So a keyword there is buy and house. And you can infer from there what the main idea of the text is, what the whole picture is, based on the main content words that you can understand. And of course, important to mention, it's important not to panic when I don't understand everything as I understand everything in my mother tongue. Certainly, obviously, you understand everything from another Chilean, because you were born here, you learned from when you were a baby, so it's easy for your brain. But when you're learning a new language, it's okay not to understand everything and to understand the whole picture of the listening. Detecting signposts. This is something that has been difficult for some of you. Signposts are the signals, yes, like a signpost. Signpost is like a signal that gives me direction in the text. Yes, so signpost is the language that it's not important per se to the content of the conversation or of the recording, but that it's a key, that it's relevant to my understanding of the direction of the text. If I say, I love football, and I stop and I pay attention to that but, I know that the next idea is going to be an opposing idea because that is a function of this connector. So I love football, but I don't play it much. That gives me the opposite idea. So when I hear the but, my brain is going to be able to know that the next information is the opposite of the previous one. If I'm telling you a story, maybe I'm going to say, firstly, I went to the mall to buy a present for my dad. Secondly, I stopped by a grocery store and bought some flour that I didn't have at home, etc. And that is going to give me direction. Yes, signposts are important to understand what the person is trying to say and what direction the text is giving me. Yes, certainly signposts are connectors, are linking words, are those words that give me direction, order, sequence, for example, or if I say, on the contrary, I know that the next information is an opposing idea, etc. 4. Listening for details. This is the opposite of looking at the whole picture. When you're listening for details, you're looking for specific information. Yes, for example, if you are Spider-Man and you need to identify a suspect, you're going to be looking everyone's faces so that you can know who is the one that matches your previous description. So it's the same here. When you're listening for details, you are into the text looking for the specific information. Just as with reading for specific details, when we do scanning for specific information, when you're listening for details, generally you know the question already. Yes, so for example, if you're doing a listening comprehension activity, you read the questions first so that you know what to pay attention to specifically in the listening. So if, for example, I need to know the age of one person in the conversation and they don't say it but they imply it, maybe you need to make an inference, but you need to pay attention to the years that they mention or the ages of some other people around the conversation, so that you can get the detail of the age. So for this strategy in particular, it's very, very important that you read the questions before you listen so that you know exactly what to pay attention to. Yes? And finally, inferring meaning. This can be used in combination, as I said, with other of the strategies. Just like in reading, you're going to use your previous information, what you know about life in general, your general knowledge, and the clues in the text, in this case, in the listening text. So when we are looking at an audiovisual recording, like imagine this was a conversation that we're watching and listening, you can have some body cues, body language clues that can help you make an inference. So for example, before I even read the text, before I even listen to the text, I can say the interviewee is very nervous. Yes, I don't need to look at him. I mean, I don't need to listen to him. I already know that he's nervous. So that gives me information to understand the words that he says better. If I didn't have the picture, let's imagine that we don't have a picture, we only have his voice, their voices. You can also infer meaning in a listening. It's not the same to say, I'm so happy at this party, than to say, yeah, I'm so happy at this party. Different. The tone of voice changes, and the volume of the voices in the conversation, they also gives us information. It's not the same to say stop it than to say stop it. Different, but very important when we're doing a listening comprehension activity and we need to infer meaning. Yes, body language, tone of voice, volume of voice, the intention of the voice, and also, of course, the language that they use that's also used for inferring meaning. Yes, in a listening conversation. Body language, if it's an audiovisual recording, tone of voice and volume, and the language, the words, the actual words that they say that give me information that I can infer from. And that's all. Those are the 5 strategies that we are studying now to improve our listening comprehension skills: predicting content, listening for the whole picture like Spider-Man, detecting signposts, the direction of the conversation, listening for details, looking at specific information that I already know I need to pay attention to, and inferring meaning, which is using the keys in the text, the clues in the text, either body language, tone of voice, or the precise language, the explicit language used by the speakers in the listening. And that's it. That's the review for the listening strategies. I hope that helps. And if you have questions, please email me or email to Miss Fernanda as well. I hope you have a great day. Bye.